Well, I didn't realize there's that much of an echo in here, guys.
I know.
So we're going to talk about renting versus buying. A lot of you guys, looking at you Chicago, you come over here, you reach out to me, you're like, oh, Sam, tell me about apartments. I'm like, apartments? Who wants an apartment when you can own a house? So, I mean, I grew up in apartments. I got nothing against apartments. But today, Gabby and Janet, I'm going to share with you what's the difference. Can you afford to buy instead of rent?
Hi, guys. Hello. So today we're going to go over rent versus own. I do want to let you know that the median rent here in Arizona as of last year was about $1,400, and that's for a 3-bedroom home. So there's a lot of ups and downs in renting and owning a home. So we're going to go ahead and explain a little bit about that. So let's go over first about the pros about renting. So the good thing about renting is that if you want to move, you know, it's easier to move. You know, you just pick up your things, cancel your lease, and move. You know, you have no obligations, no commitments to a mortgage, or figuring out what you're going to do as in renting it out or selling it. So that's one perk. Another perk is that it's low maintenance. You know, you have no maintenance. You have a landlord, you have property management companies that can take care of all your repairs, if not all of your repairs. Another thing that's really good about renting is that you don't have to worry about like down payment or a closing cost or that kind of expenses to get into a rental. And another thing I would say is that the landlord pays all property taxes. So you're not responsible for all the things when you're only responsible for your lease. And in some apartments or houses, the landlord still pays for some of your utilities. So there are some ups about renting.
Yeah, so obviously renting is not for everyone. Some people just rent because they have to, they relocate, or they just have to move constantly because of their work or their lifestyle. I'm gonna go over the bad stuff of renting. So obviously,
There's bad stuff? I've never experienced bad stuff renting, like crazy neighbors.
She mentioned that there's no down payment for renting. However, when you move in with the cost of living going up, you still have to do a security deposit, you know, and all that stuff. And that's actually, in some cases, I work with clients that actually buying was cheaper than actually moving into an apartment, believe it or not. So that's, I just want to throw that out there. People are always asking about the interest rates. You know, what are the interest rates, this and this and that. Well, let me tell you, the interest rates in rents are 100%. If you think about it, you're paying every month and you're never getting it back. So just see it like that. There's no control over rent increase. You know, the landlord has full control. Unfortunately, in Arizona, there's no regulations on the rents. So if the landlord wants to increase your rents after your lease is over, or if you're month to month, he can do it at any time. He or she can do it at any time. There's no control over any rent. You also have rules. You know, as a renter, you have rules and regulations that you have to follow. Other than that, you can lose your deposit, your security money, or whatever it is. So keep that in mind as well. You know, you're living in a place, but you really don't have full control of your home. Also, this is a big one: breed restrictions. In some apartments, I've helped with people who have dogs, and I'm a huge pit bull lover. I love dogs. I love all dogs, but pit bull lovers is one of the breeds that unfortunately are restricted in many places. So if you have any pets and you're looking to move, you know, unfortunately, if you're renting, you don't have that benefit of owning, you know, any pets.
Right.
You know, especially if you have those type of breeds like pit bulls. I believe the other one is Rottweiler is another big one.
Chow chows.
Chow chows. You know,
and then other pets, you do have to sometimes pay monthly pet rent.
I experienced that when I was between houses, because we were building a brand new house in Gilbert. We rented and we had all our stuff in storage, and they charged us rent for our dog. And we have 2 dogs, but I only told them I had one.
So it's what, $25 an average?
It was like $50 a month.
$50
for my little teeny weeny dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So I mean, the price really adds up. Also, some rentals are almost the same as a mortgage payment, believe it or not. You know, like she's mentioned, the average rent is, how much is it?
$1,400.
$1,400 in Arizona or the Maricopa County. So rents are actually, you know, spiking up quite a bit. I spoke with someone who's renting a 1-bedroom home in Phoenix for $1,200 for a 1-bedroom. This is 700 square foot apartment. You know, it's insane. So no matter what happens when you're renting, you're gaining zero value, absolutely zero. Month after month, you know, you're paying the landlord. You know, the only one that's winning is the landlord. Might be in some situations if you can't buy because you just don't want to, you don't want to come in, it's perfectly fine. We're just definitely going over the, you know, the cons and the pros of renting.
Yeah, so remember guys, in the end, you may not be paying your own mortgage, but a mortgage is still being paid.
Absolutely. And last but not least is the big one. That when you're renting, unfortunately, there's zero tax benefits. As a homeowner, Sam, I know you get tax benefits.
I do.
You know, so that's actually, you know, one of the biggest things that actually helps homeowners, the tax benefits. And as a renter, you don't get any.
We've all heard of money pits. I had a house in Jersey that was a little older, and I had to replace the furnace, and I had my water heater blew up, and I had an insurance company had to come out, and it was a nightmare. My brother-in-law, he has a house that's old. He's forever having problems with this house, and we keep telling him, just buy new, just buy new. That's what I intend on doing. In another 9 years, buying something brand new. But so what are some more of the negatives of owning versus renting?
Let's see. Some of the negative stuff about owning a home is that you have to do all the maintenance. You know, you're responsible for everything. If you have leaks or plumbing bursts, you know, you have to deal with that either with your home insurance, which you pay monthly, or, you know, you have to figure it out and have some contractor come in and take the whole cut yourself. That's really the negative part, because when you rent, you don't have to worry about that.
Or you can get a home warranty as well.
A home warranty also does help cover some items like appliances and, you know, smaller ticket priced items, which is always great as well.
I had a home warranty. It wasn't worth in my opinion, because every time I had to come out to look, oh, that's not covered, that's not covered, that's not covered. So why am I paying you guys all this money every month?
Yeah,
you know?
there are a lot of options. So some of them unfortunately don't work as they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And some others, just a matter of doing your research.
Yeah, and then you do have to cover those other expenses yourself if those aren't covered by the home warranty.
Right, and if they do come, you have to do a deductible fee every time they come.
Yep.
So yeah.
Right. Another downside about buying is that you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for your HOA, your utilities, your property taxes, insurances, warranties, anything and everything that comes with the home. You're responsible for that.
For those of you that don't know what an HOA, what is that?
It's a homeowners association. So they're the ones that control pretty much
The neighborhood.
the neighborhood. They give you rules and regulations that you need to follow. And that's only in some neighborhoods in Arizona.
Yeah.
It's not all, but
Usually,
mainly
yeah.
the West Valley
The newer subdivisions.
or the suburbs area.
The suburbs and the newer home. Now, some people like the HOA, and I personally love it because it keeps our neighborhood clean. They have some regulations. Some people just straight up hate it.
So even if you have your house paid and clear, you still have to pay an HOA every month.
If there's a homeowners association in that subdivision in your neighborhood, yes. That never goes away.
Yeah.
Or like he said, there's a mafia.
Just like property taxes, they don't go away.
No, seriously, when I lived in Avondale, I kid you not, I saw this guy, 2 a.m. He drove around surveying all the yards to make sure there weren't any weeds. And if there was a weed, they'd take a picture and mail you a fine. They do not play about the weeds here. And in addition, in Avondale, you could not park on the street. You would also get a ticket by that guy if they caught you parking on the street at night.
And that's only in some neighborhoods.
True,
in Avondale.
true.
Yeah, it all depends on your HOA, so it's really important that when you buy a home that you read your CC&Rs, which tells you, it's a document that tells you all the rules, pretty much, of what to expect from your HOA.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is move in and be into a neighborhood that you can't even park your car outside.
I would do this.
Very weird though. I think I know what neighborhood you're talking about, but it's not very common.
Yeah, so those are some, you know, the downsides of really owning a home. That you know, as a homeowner, you literally own a piece of this planet. So it's your responsibilities to take care of it.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go over the
pros.
Okay, sorry.
All right, the negativity is over. Let's talk about the pros of home ownership besides the taxes.
All right, guys. So the pros. There's a very long list. I actually brought it, and there are a lot of benefits of renting. I mean, of buying a home. Sorry, of buying a home. And we're not being biased here just because we're real estate agents. We really want to go over, explain to you that's why we're doing this video, to go over the positive and the negatives. Homeownership is not for everybody, but if you are looking to buy a home, we're gonna go over the pros. So, like Gabby mentioned, you're physically owning or buying a piece of land, of the earth, you know, the planet. So, with all that value, you have value. You know, you're right away investing in your family. You can control how long you live in the property. You know, if you buy a house a year or two later, you're tired, you didn't like the neighborhood, you can just, you know, put the house for sale. You have full control of what you want to do with the property.
Or you can rent it out and make a maintain machine.
That's true. You can rent it out, and then you can just, you know, have the tenant pay for it. You know, you can make money while you sleep. Tax advantage, obviously we spoke about that. Huge write-offs at the end of the year. Too many, not everybody, but some homeowners, the majority of them have some type of tax benefit.
My mom, just so you know a little backstory, my mom and my stepdad had bought a house as an extra house just to rent out, and they didn't really buy it with the intention of retiring there, but that's what they ended up doing. So they sold their house in Jersey, made a mint, and then ended up moving here. They paid off the house that they already had, and that's where they currently live in Mesa. So for those of you that have some extra money, you know, you could buy out here and rent it out, and when you're ready, potentially retire here.
Yeah, especially since rents are like pretty high up here.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, and you're right, we do work with a lot of people who buy second homes just to rent them out, and they literally pay themselves off. Like the tenant pays for everything. It's amazing. So the other thing, like Sam mentioned before, you could paint the walls whatever color you want. If you don't like the countertops, go ahead and change it. If you don't like the color, go ahead and go black, do black. You know, you can do whatever you want. You have full control because it's your home. The other thing, there are no, get all the pets you want. And we went over this already. There's no breed restrictions. I can have all the pit bulls and all the Rottweilers in the world. I actually have 4 dogs myself right now and love them to death. And it just breaks my heart when you go and you can't move in there because there's breed restrictions. Literally, it breaks my heart. So yeah, no breed restrictions. You can have all the pets that you want. Obviously, if you have an HOA, sometimes there might be some regulations on the amount of dogs, you know.
Now what about like chicken coops? Because I know some places I see chicken coops.
Yeah, that also depends on the homeowners association. You know, the last thing you want is probably move to somebody that has a couple, you know, birds that are not allowed, or chickens, and you know, just to keep the noise down, you know. Also, you're investing in yourself and your family. You know, keep in mind you're buying something, so regardless, you're gonna get a return. You're paying yourself no matter what. This is also very interesting because not a lot of people, because we make it seem like cost is expensive, is doing it as well. There's actually multiple loan options out there. So some people are buying a house with literally 0% down, and then in the minimum, if you're putting your down payment, will be about 3%, and then, you know, from up. So there's multiple loan options out there available, especially if you're a veteran. You know, we have VA loans and all that. So it's very good to look into that, because you'll be surprised how affordable it is to actually get into your home. Right.
There was one Zonie, okay? I'm not gonna blast you, but you wrote to me telling me you made $160,000 a year, yet you could not afford a mortgage for a $270,000 house. And my response was, well, I don't make that much, but I budget, you know? Hashtag Dave Ramsey. You know, you don't need to make $160,000 to be able to afford a house that's $270,000. I mean, I don't know how much you think a mortgage would cost, but you more than make enough unless you're being stunad and wasting all your money owning 15 Mercedes.
That is true. You really don't need to make $160,000 to buy a almost $300,000 home. You know, you can definitely get a good price ranged home for that amount of income.
Yeah, no, if obviously there's several factors that, you know, are determined for you to buy a house. We're not going to go over that because we don't want to make a 30-minute video. But yeah, there's a lot of options, so we can help you with that if you have any questions. Sell and cash out at any time. Like he said, you know, is that your mother?
Yeah, my
yeah. So, you know, bought a house and then sold out, cashed out, and that's usually the beauty about buying a house. You know, you're gaining equity, you're gaining value. And then last but not least, like we mentioned, if you don't want to live in a property anymore, you can just rent it out, and you're literally making money while you sleep. And we see this all the time, where the tenants are just paying the house. So those are the benefits of buying a house. You know, you have full control, and yeah, you are the homeowner, so it's your house.
I mean, from my perspective, speaking to a lot of people, the way they make their money, like I know this one couple in particular, again, I'm not gonna mention names, but what they would do is they would buy a house, fix it up, live there, sell it, and parlay the monies to their next house. They did this over and over and over again, and now they got bank. They're fully retired. They don't need to worry about nothing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's so true. There's so many ways you can make money. Gabby and I actually do fixer-uppers as well. So we do flip homes, you know, a couple of homes throughout the year. But that is actually one of the products that we're gonna be promoting this year. Kind of like all you HGTV lovers, if you like fixer-uppers, what a lot of people are doing is, not a lot of people, that's one of the options that are available that we want to show. If you buy a house, and there's a type of loan that covers your rehab as well, so you can buy a fixer-upper at way below market value, and then you basically finance all the you know, the new countertops and everything, and then you end up buying a house with equity, and then you can, you know, live on it and for a year or two, and then resell it, and then that's a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people consider that. And then there's other ways that you can actually live for free. You really know that. So, and that is buying a home, maybe like a fourplex, you know, where you can buy a home with certain types of loans with the estimated amount of 3%. And the beauty of it, and why I say you live for free, is because literally you only have one mortgage, but you're buying like a duplex or a fourplex, triplex, and you have tenants, and you can rent those tenants enough to cover your mortgage. Yeah. It is insane. This blew my mind, and that's another video that if you want to, you know, talk about it. It is insane, but you're literally living for free because the tenants are paying your mortgage. I
know a lot of people nowadays, the millennials, they have like 15 guys living in one house. You know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. I want to be able to walk around in my underwear. You know what I'm saying? So, what would you say to a millennial, somebody that is new to the workplace, doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of money, they're tired of living with all these crazy roommates? What would you say to them if they said, you know, I'd like to buy a house, what's the first step? What do I do?
Okay, so if you're a millennial, actually, cool fact, 30% of homeowners in 2018 or 2017, I don't know the numbers yet for 2018, but are millennials. They're actually the number one, you know, buyers out in the market. So first-time homeowners, 30% of them were millennials.
Yeah. So the thing about that is that as a millennial, you know, most likely it's your first home. So there's a lot of first-time home buyer programs out there already. So that allows you to, you know, come into your home with zero down payment. You know, and depending on your realtor and how hard they negotiate for you, they might be able to negotiate some of your closing costs, if not all. So you literally come into a home with like zero down, literally.
Yeah. And if you're tired of the roommates, maybe bring them with you and rent them a room. Yeah. And then they'll pay your mortgage. I mean, we have a lot of people still, and millennials as well. You know, I know people who bought a home and have 2 or 3 roommates. And they literally took that money that they were using for rent at their rental, and then they're now paying their, you know, buying their own home, and they're paying their own home. We have that one millennial that has his friends, you know, pay them the mortgage, and they went in, got a bigger house. They have 2 pit bulls, and they painted whatever they wanted, and now they're like, wow, we never thought this could be possible.
Yeah, and they split utilities.
They split the utilities. So obviously every situation is different, you know, depending on your credit. You do have to have a work, you know, you do have to have a stable employment to be able to qualify. There's so many things, but you'll be surprised how many people are actually able to buy a house.
Yeah.
Now what about Airbnb? Like if you wanted to make your house available for Airbnb, like a room or something like that, kind of offset the costs.
Yeah, that would be an investment property.
Yeah. Yeah. So for investment properties, it's a little different because you're taking on like investment portfolios under you. Your down payment's a little bit more than your first-time home buyers, you know, because these programs are meant to make home buying affordable, and then as an investor, you know, you kind of have more flexibility financially, so you're looking about higher down payments for those. But there are programs, and they're still affordable. You can still buy investment properties, and they don't have to be cash. It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
you know, you still have those options.
That's true. And for that millennial question, my recommendation would be to maybe buy a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, which you could still buy those type of investment properties if you live at least in one of them, with very, very little down payment.
Right. And talking about Airbnb and investments, Jan and I actually saw a house in, downtown a couple months ago, and it was pretty cool because, it had a regular house. It was a regular house. It was a 1-bedroom home. It was really small, or a 2-bedroom home, sorry. And it had a casita.
For those of you that don't know, what's a casita?
So a casita is a detached home in the back of the home. That house serves. You can literally.
It's kind of like
a little house, right?
Like a guest house.
A guest house. Yeah. There you go. So the benefits of that was that if we wanted to, we could have bought the first house, lived in it, and Airbnb or rented the second house. It was such a possibility, and then have, if not all our mortgage paid, at least half of the mortgage paid.
Yeah, Airbnb is huge in Phoenix. We know a lot of people who are Airbnbing.
Is that a term? Airbnb. Okay.
And the amount of money they make, it blows my mind. So maybe that'd be one of our projects in the future. But yeah, that's one. Especially in the spring with so many events coming. We have a lot of people from out of state just come here. Snowbirds are another one.
Spring training.
There's so many things to do in Arizona. The desert is not that boring.
All right, guys. So Tony, if you're still living in your mom's basement, there's hope for you. You could have your own house, okay? So that concludes another edition of Arizona Living. Be sure to like, subscribe, and if you're considering moving to the Valley of the Sun, you really need to contact Janet and Gabby.
Yeah, actually, just before, I want to throw something in there. If you guys are considering moving to Arizona, we have a lot of cool information that we can mail out to you on relocation. A lot of people, we've noticed, we've talked to a lot of people from other states, trust me, and Phoenix is growing. It's actually number 5, and we're forecasted to be number 5 for 2019 of top cities to move into. We're up there in the competition, and I know it's not easy, and I know it can be hard. So if you guys have any questions, we can actually mail you some information completely free on maybe a relocation guide and maps of the valley, so you can have an idea. Just you can message Sam, he'll get me in touch or whatever, or my contact will be below, and you can text me, just shoot me in your address and a phone number, and we'll send it over for free. No obligation, guys. We're not gonna be calling you or any of that.
Cool. They don't even return my phone calls. They're not going to harass you, all right? Don't worry about it. So before we close, you had mentioned to me via email, what's the stats of the number of people from Chicago moving over here? Because I get a lot of comments from Chicagoans.
Yeah.
Chicagoans, sorry.
Yeah.
They're actually our number 1 state that keeps relocating to Arizona.
Yeah, so these are facts. We study the market very well. So the top 2 states that we're seeing is Chicago, and number 2 is California. And we talk to so many people from California and Chicago all the time. We actually have a client right now that is buying a new build in Buckeye, Arizona, and she's actually just moved here from Chicago, and have another person who's potentially moving here and looking to move here. But we're talking to people from all over the country right now. We're very blessed. We're lucky to be able to help people because, when we moved here from California, we had nobody.
Yeah.
So it was very hard, and it's good to always be out there to help.
Yeah. Number 2 is California.
All right, New York, you didn't make the list, sorry. All right, guys, so take 2. This concludes another edition of Arizona Living. Be sure to like, subscribe, and as we said before, contact the A-Team. Till next time.